woo, it's Riles, and as you may or may not know, I really like to match clothes with my boyfriend. So today I wanted to make this cute little Cubs dress to match his Letterman jacket that he has, so that then we'll be able to be all twinsy with it. So that's what I'm going to be trying to make today. I'm going to be using this dress I already have as a base because it's pretty similar to what I want to make. I'm going to be basically stealing the top off of it, and then I'm going to be giving it different sleeves and a wider skirt. So to begin, I'm going to start by tracing out all the pieces and making the necessary modifications, like making the skirt thicker, adding the pockets, making a different strap pattern, as well as extending down the waist on this just a little bit.
So to create your pattern from clothing that you already own, that you just want to like clone, you'll go ahead and just trace around the outside of all the seam lines and add a centimeter or two for some seam allowance so that you're able to stitch it right up, and then it should end up coming out to be about the right size if you do that.
Okay, now that I've got all my pattern pieces cut out, I'm going to go ahead and cut it out in the fabric. So for this, I'm just going to be able to use fabric from my stash because I've got like the perfect blue stretchy fabric here that I hope I have enough of. And then for that little white bit on the skirt, I'm going to be using this one. It's just a nice 4-way stretch already.
However, for the blue fabric, it was only 2-way stretch, so I had to lay it out very particularly to make sure that the stretch ended up on the right grain lines and everything, and it wasted so much fabric, but it was okay. It was okay. It just hurt my soul a little bit, but it's alright. It ended up being the way I needed to do it, so it would stretch correctly along my waist and everything, so I can actually get on the dress, otherwise there'd be no point.
Now for the sleeves, I don't want to have spaghetti strap sleeves like this. I want them to be like thicker. So I'm just going to end up measuring this and then cutting out strips of fabric that length. So this is about 16 inches. So I'll probably give it 17.5 for seam allowance and make it a couple inches thick, and I'll just cut out a few strips.
I always tend to err on the side of things being a little bigger than what I need, and the sleeves ended up being like that, but that's nothing a little 6-inch blade can't fix.
Now I want a little part of my skirt to be like a little white cutout, so I'm just going to fold this pattern and cut like a little pie slice for the same length.
I'm going to be cutting the same exact slice out of the blue fabric I could just cut for the skirt, but I'm going to do that afterwards to ensure it still fits my waist.
Since I don't have enough of the original blue fabric, I'm going to be using this one for the pockets. You won't really see it anyway, and it's a pretty close color match.
For items made out of a stretchy material like this, you really can't put much of anything in the pockets without the skirt stretching down all weird, but I personally still like to put my hands and stuff in them because people kind of tend to freak out when they see me with the hands of girls who have touched my Pookie Bear.
So I'm going to go ahead and start pinning all of this together. I'm going to pin the top together. I'm going to pin the bottom to the pockets, and then I'm going to sew all that up, and then I'm going to sew the two bottom sides together. Yeah, then we'll go from there.
So for stretchy materials, you'll want to go ahead and use a zigzag stitch on your machine. It may look a little bit uglier, but it'll really save your garments whenever they stretch.
For the pockets, I'm going to pin them about 5 or 6 inches below the waist so that it won't be too high up for me to put my hands in the pockets, and it'll be more comfortable.
So I worked really hard to try and make sure that I measured these all to be the exact same length downwards on the skirt so it'll line up correctly when I sew it together. Speaking of sewing it together, that just can never quite cooperate now, can it?
Why do sewing machines do this?
After begrudgingly seam ripping all of that out of there, I finally sewed it back up correctly this time. Thanks to all my hours working in the morgue, I've gotten pretty good at that though.
Okay, now that I have the pockets attached to the skirt, I'm going to sew the two skirt pieces together, and then I'll need to add the white bit, but I'll get to that after I finish sewing these two together.
So I went ahead and pinned all the sides together and then went ahead and stitched it up. Then I also went on ahead and pinned the white fabric onto the skirt after I sewed it up so that I knew the exact placement of it and where I should get started when I cut and start planning out where to sew it on.
Okay, so I cut out a slit in the middle of it here, and then I think I'm going to roll it over like this so it has a bit more volume to it when I do it. I went ahead and cut both of these down so that then I can just go ahead and roll them both up. And then I think it looks pretty nice. It makes it have like a nice little collar thing to it, gives it more dimension, so it looks like this is more under it instead of just attached. I think that's gonna work really well. So I'm going to go ahead, finish folding that all over, and then I'm going to stitch it down. And I'm going to have to shorten this one a bit because I wanted this one just a little bit shorter just to give it more dimension and asymmetry and stuff like that, you know?
While I was pinning this, it looked so nice and bouncy and voluminous, but as soon as I stitched it down, it got so much flatter, which I should have seen coming in hindsight, but it still kind of made me a little bit sad because I thought it looked so cute. I still really like it now, but it's just a lot flatter than I thought it was going to come out, but alas, I live with the decisions I made in the project, and I will deal with it. And here's how the skirt's looking after all of that.
I'm going to go ahead and attach the skirt part to the top part. And from there, I'm going to hopefully try to hem the bottom, and then I'll work on the sleeves and then finish up the top.
Yay, and now we're getting to a jumper. It's actually starting to take form and we started looking closer to the final product. I always get so excited at this stage in the projects because it's like a final garment almost, like you can visualize it. I also always wonder if my love will like it, or if he'll like me, or if maybe one day I can lock him in my...
Okay, so I attached the top to the bottom, so now we're getting there. Now I still need to add the straps and hem the top, and I also need to add the vinyl and stuff right here, but other than that, we're nearly done.
I'm not gonna lie, one of my least favorite things to do when sewing is making a tunnel and having to flip it inside out. Oh, I hate it so much. It's like, I already sewed you and now I have to go and dig in there with something and shimmy it out to get it to flip the right way out. I should just get one of those tools or something, but I never do it and I just end up hating it every single time I do it.
Alright, day 2, and it's basically done. I just need to add vinyl to the skirt. So let's go fight with the cricket, shall we?
I've never actually seen anyone else have this problem, but I can never get the vinyl or really anything to stick to my Cricut mats. Like, I know mine are dirty nowadays, but like, I could get them brand new and they still wouldn't stick well, so I kind of just tape down my vinyl. It's always worked well for me. I haven't had any issues with it, so if you also struggle with this, maybe try taping it.
Alright, now that both of the vinyls are done, I'm gonna go ahead, cut them out, and then iron them on.
On another note of slightly cursed Cricut hacks, I also use a seam ripper to weed out my vinyl because, I don't know, I just find it easier. It's more stabby, so you're able to get in those tiny little details and pull it out easier. And also they're everywhere around my sewing area, so I don't have to go search for that random little tool that comes with the Cricut. You know, it's just easier for me. And then ironing. Oh man, ironing took forever. Like, no joke, I think I spent like 2 hours ironing this on, just straight ironing, because I started at low heat and then I had to keep upping the heat because I was scared of burning the fabric at first. But anyway, the constant struggle with vinyl. But eventually I got it on and it ended up looking really nice, and I just wanted to make sure it was like cemented on, and I think it is.
Alrighty, that's just about a wrap on the jumper dress thingy. The vinyl put up a big fight, however, I was victorious. The only thing left to do now is to try on the darn thing. However, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, I need to go catch the love of my life. He keeps running away from me. However, my love for him is faster than he can run. thank you all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave me a like and subscribe. It really helps me out quite a bit. Until next time, farewell.
Help!